Well, they say a high tide lifts all boats. And in this case, we're talking about an app, Collab, that's going to hopefully lift the music industry for retailers and manufacturers. Brian Burke, the editor of the Music and Sound Retailer. I'm really excited to have two people, fantastic people, join me who I've never interviewed before. So that's really good. We have Ben Ash. He's the content marketing manager at Sam Ash.
Hi there.
And Chris Halon, the Vice President of Marketing at Roland Corp US. So first of all, thanks, guys. Let's
And thank you
ask
for
you,
having
Ben.
us.
Oh, sure. uh, Ben, let's start with you since you've been involved with Collab. I want you to give me all the details of what I've read. I've read about it's an app where people can kind of create videos together, from different locations musically. So can you give me some of the all the nuts and bolts about it and what it's all about?
Sure. Yeah. So what the app is, I mean, in its simplest form, is it's just a phone app where you can add music with people. I know that seems so simple because there are some apps that do it, but its main focus is to, as the name suggests, collaborate with other people. So, for example, you can decide to start a collab. I'm just going to use, when you hear the term collab, that's what I'm saying. But you can either add one to three clips and wait for people to add to it or replace or mix them up. Or you can add a clip of your own to somebody else's collab. So say there's three people that are playing and you think you can add a guitar part, you can substitute one person's clip for your part. And so and what happens is there's this pool of different videos that comes together in one song. So say you don't have a musical bone in your body, but you know what sounds good, you can swipe and mix and match any of these clips in that song to make your own version of it. So for example, if someone recorded something 3 months ago, and since then there have been 100 editions, there's now 100 things from now till then that you can make into your own version of a song. And it could change the genre, the feel, the instrumentation. There's a lot of possibilities for mixing it up. But ultimately, it's just an app for musicians or non-musicians to come together and make music with each other. That's the simplest way to explain it. But on the nuts and bolts of it, it gives you 15 seconds of runtime at the moment. I say this as we talk because who knows what new features or updates they do in the future. So you got 15 seconds of runtime, and you can basically add anything. It doesn't matter what instrument, doesn't matter what you're filming, honestly, because like, for example, this is a weird example, but there was a couple people who did the song Angel by Sarah McLachlan. I think I got the name right. The one that's been used in all of those ASPCA commercials with the sad cats and dogs. So as a joke on that, instead of filming myself playing, I just filmed a slow zoom in on the cat that I have. The cat that I have, that's a weird phrasing, but my cat. And it was just to like add some humor. It wasn't adding a musical element necessarily, but at least I contributed something, and it didn't have to be musical. It just gave people a laugh. But think of it as kind of like, there are certain apps that have that duet feature where someone plays a clip and then you can add to it. But that's kind of a game of telephone in a sense, where it's someone adds to someone and then someone adds to someone else, while this gives you the opportunity to mix and match those clips how you will. And it's done in a linear thing. So there's 1, 2, 3 videos, and they can all be the same video. 2 of them can be the same with one different. You can mix and match. And that's the other artistic thing, is that sometimes the layout of the videos will be interesting. As of literally today, people were doing this spoon video where someone in the bottom video passes a spoon to the person in the middle, and they have a spoon and they pass it to the one at the very top. And so that's the one that's kind of trending now. And it's musical in the sense of percussive, but it's an interesting way to play with the video format. So I'm curious to see where it goes in that. But all in all, it's a blast, honestly, because there's no one that I've met that can't add something to it or manipulate clips in a way. You could be a professional musician who's willing to lay down tracks, or you could just be someone who bangs a bunch of pots and pans in their kitchen, and that also is just as valid. And most of all, what I love right now is, although it's a smaller community, it's a very supportive community, and like incredibly so. We have our own Discord, a few of us that we talk to. There's a group on Facebook we talk, and sometimes it goes into talking about the gear that we're using and the best setups. It's talking about what songs we want to work on with each other. Sometimes it's just random stuff about, like, we had a conversation about the show WandaVision. It's just that kind of thing where we've become very friendly with each other, all because of an app where we were sharing music ideas with each other. But ultimately, doesn't matter the genre, doesn't matter the instrument, doesn't matter the skill level. There is something you can do on this app, and it's a lot of fun. And in some ways, it's very addictive.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I can imagine. I've seen the first 4 episodes of WandaVision, so I probably could get in touch. I probably know what you're
Please
talking
do. Please do.
about. So it's great, and it sounds like just a couple more details about it before we get to Chrissy. So it kind of sounds like it's your own. It provides a video editor for you. You don't need to be an editor yourself, so that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it's not the bells and whistles of anything like Final Cut or anything, but it ultimately, for example, I should take you through recording a track. So what happens is you have the opportunity to start from scratch or substitute your clip over one of the 3 in the chosen video. So when you choose that, you can turn on the metronome. So if you don't have internal rhythm or you don't have an external metronome, you can use that and record a piece. And then afterwards, you have the opportunity to trim it. So say you like it, you want to make it a perfect loop, you can test it to make sure. And there's this way to trim it so it's very fine tuned, which I love personally because I'm a perfectionist in that sense. But I almost forgot one other thing. What's great is you get 10 takes. So instead of you having to record a take, realize you messed up, go back, click this, that, and the other thing, and then do it all over again, you have 10 looping takes of, say it's set to a BPM, it'll just loop, and you can make sure you get it exactly in time, exactly the right take. You can choose from the 10. You don't love the 10, record another 10, and so on and so forth till you find the best one. Side note, last night, for example, I was trying to do my best impression of Bob Dylan, and it took way more than 50 takes to do it just right. So sometimes you need to have a lot of takes to get it right. Us musicians know when you go in the studio, as much as we'd like to get on the first take, not a very likely scenario.
Yeah. If anyone has watched the movie Ma Rainey's Black Bomb, they could see how many takes
Exactly.
the one song right. So that's a really good depiction of that. But yeah, no, it sounds really great. It's a Facebook product, and it is Chris. I want to get involved. You did say so. This is actually available now, and it's a face. I think I mentioned it's from Facebook, but you actually download it separately on the App Store. So what have you been involved with it? Tell me about you. You've been also beta testing it. So take me through the process of what you've been doing and what you've been.
Sure. So, definitely during the beginning of the pandemic, we saw at Roland this immense need and desire for customers to be live streaming their performances from home. Like, it was happening before, but literally everyone is live streaming and posting their videos, making music from home. And we were personally, I was on the hunt to see what was out there, what platforms were being used, and I came across this on some forums, and Facebook was very kind to invite me as a beta tester in the summer of last year. And Roland makes a number of products that connect your phone to all your musical devices, so it was kind of a beta test of the app and what it was like to make music with strangers that we've never met before. I primarily play the piano. Ben primarily plays guitar and sings. And we were able to, connect different devices together and continually improve the software. We were able to give some good suggestions back to Facebook, but ultimately it was how we felt musically. We were able to interact with each other, and we've done a lot of cool jams with each other and with a lot of musicians that we've never met before. And it falls under one of Roland's 3 core slogans is inspire the enjoyment of creativity. And this allowed all of us to be very, very creative, and we could inspire other musicians. I might lay down the piano track and Ben might lay down a guitar track, but we very quickly wanted to make sure that other people that were pianists and guitarists felt comfortable playing the same thing in kind of their own way, so it was a great distraction during the summer for me. It is addictive, as Ben mentioned earlier, and it's come a long way, and now it's available in the United States from the App Store, and it's been a great way to continue making music without without being able to be next to each other, during this time.
Okay, great. Yeah, it sounds like a really cool product. I mean, even before a pandemic, I think it would be really cool for people around the world. But now during a pandemic, boy, it's it really hits the jackpot. I can even see people in the same band that just can't be together all the time, maybe getting involved with that. So yeah, that really hits pay dirt there. Uh, all right, so Ben, the $1 million question with this all is, and that our viewers want to know is, how does it help you at Sam Ash as a retailer, and how can it help your customers? How can you utilize this? I mean, are you going to have this set up in stores? Do you see in the future? I mean, what can you see the future looking like for this?
So that's actually interesting you bring that up, because just to give you some backstory so you understand where I'm coming from. So our head guru, or whatever you would like to call her, Britt Minuti, she's the one responsible for making this a reality. And she found me back in February, even before the pandemic, after I was making little clips on Byte. She didn't even know I was affiliated with Sam Ash Music. She's just like, oh, he's pretty good at guitar. He might be a great tester. So I joined the Alpha group, which was back in February, March, and I was playing with the app and helping them out. And then when it became beta and they brought in Chris, then we still did more stuff, and then it officially launched on the 14th. But why I bring this up is Britt and myself and Chris have actually had these discussions about how we can bring these into the MI space. And one of them was to actually have maybe a corner or like some logo or something that is like a literal collab space where you can just pick up an instrument from the wall and add something really quickly. Obviously, with the constraints of COVID, that could be a little difficult at the moment, but it is something we look to do in the future. So in the meantime, what we've done is we're very proud to do a joint press release with Collab, Roland, and Sam Ash, all basically encouraging our followers and customers, try this out. I think you might like it. If you have an iPhone, you're in the US, go for it. So myself and Chris, we love tech. We're fascinated by this, which is why I'm grateful that they asked me. But as you heard from Chris, he's very intuitive about knowing what is the next big thing in tech and applying it in some way to Roland. And so I think in the grand scheme of things, I think this is only going to benefit our business, because we have found that, and we as a society have found, when there is a successful app that requires certain technology, or anything that requires certain technology, people get crazy about buying it. So for example, when quarantine hit, at least on a retail level, we basically sold out of USB mics, monitors, interfaces, the gamut, anything you would need for live streaming. I mean, you can ask Chris. One of the big products they had is the Go Mixer Pro and the Go Mixer. And essentially, as soon as we were quarantined, they sold out of their stock pretty much across the board. And so
it's true. It's a true story.
Yeah. And it's a good problem to have. And so I think that with this app, there will be musicians like myself and others who are professional, and they just love this. And they're saying, you know what? I want my audio to sound better. I want my guitar to have better effects. I want a better microphone. I could go on. And there's going to have to be a place to buy it. So you're going to go to Sam Ash Music or whatever your preferred retailer is. I hope that preferred retailer is Sam Ash Music, but I digress. And I think most of what I hope for is, let alone do our customers keep coming back, but new ones decide to shop with us because they were a kid, they were on the App Store, they found this app, they've never touched an instrument in their life, and they want to add something. So they start, like I said, banging pots and pans, and they actually have some rhythm, and it makes them maybe want to get a couple drumsticks and a practice pad, and all of a sudden they're getting really good and they need to get a drum kit. that's just one very specific example. But I think anything that encourages people to become musicians, much like, and this is a bold claim, but when the Beatles came onto the scene, everyone wanted to be a musician overnight. I'm not saying necessarily this is going to have the same effect as the Beatles. Most people and things don't, but I think there will be a significant amount of people who will be encouraging themselves to become some kind of musician because they're either seeing other incredible musicians adding stuff, or they simply want to sound better themselves if they're a professional by adding reverb to the microphone instead of using the mic on their phone. That's just a very specific scenario. But I don't want to like steamroll over Chris, because I understand manufacturing also has a huge part of it. And I think there's going to be a lot of influence with manufacturers as far as like anything. If when live streaming became a thing, all of a sudden people were looking for ways to make microphones, both USB and XLR, and live streaming equipment more accessible, better priced, and easier to use. So I think we're going to hear from the users of this app a lot of, you know what, it would be so great if I had this to use as a mic, or if I had this way to plug in. And funny enough, back to the Go Mixer and the Go Mixer Pro, they introduced that way before this app came out. So it just so happens that it works perfectly with this with the Collab app, and they're ahead of the punch. They're like, they've already gotten, like, I don't know how to phrase it, but Chris and team at Roland basically went, we've got a winner. Now everyone's got to play catch up while we're already moving on to version 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think Roland's already got that step ahead of everyone to give them a product on this app that they can use, and that is affordable as well. And if they need a place to buy it, they buy it from us, along with all the other equipment they need to sound good.
Great. And Chris, you get the last word. How can it
Nice.
help you as a manufacturer, and how might you incorporate it?
Sure. Well, we feel that the entire industry is successful if we all work together to make more music makers. That is what we're ultimately trying to do. And if our products can do that, and then spread the amazing music making videos that can be out there with an app like Collab, it's just going to inspire more music makers. And so we know at the core, if we make that simple, if we give them the tools to do that, we know the world will be better. Lots of things really can get better. So it's very much aligned with our core philosophies. Making more music, making more musicians. So it's been a thrill to work with Ben, who I've known for a very long time, even well before this. But we know there'll be more. There'll be lots of other manufacturers may be interested. There'll be a lot of other retailers interested. Ultimately, we all win if we're doing our part to keep the industry healthy. Everyone wins.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, it's there's something to be said about making more musicians, because on just on a way of saying morally that it's just a beautiful thing, which it truly is, because I love to see anyone trying to play music or doing very well at it at the very same time. And on a more capitalistic level of things, for lack of a better term, it makes our business better. It makes more innovation for manufacturers. It gives us and other retailers more products to sell, and the right products to sell to the musicians out there. And I know NAMM technically just happened, but when it reopens again, I'm sure it's going to be swelling with more, like I said, innovative tech and ways that we're now using our phone as a resource, not only to connect with musicians, but perform for other musicians in a simple, effective way. And for even you at MSNR, that you guys will be able to write more about this. And I'm crossing my fingers that some huge artist, I don't know who the first A-list artist is going to be, that joins this app, and then suddenly everyone flocks because they want to participate with them. Whether it's John Mayer laying down a track or Shawn Mendes putting down some vocals, once they do that, once someone of that tier does that, there's going to be, we won't do, I don't even know. It's just going to explode with new people to follow. Maybe notifications will be exploding because all of a sudden they're looking at mine or Chris's or someone's stuff because they finally discovered the app. So I'm just super excited. And look, I have no stake in this company. I don't have shares in Facebook. I am just talking about this app simply because I haven't had this much fun with an app, let alone had this sense of musical community since my college days at Berkeley. It's unreal and it's surreal in a weird way. And I think 2021 is going to be a very good year for this app, knock on wood. So I'm just here along for the ride and I'm having a blast since day one.
Okay, great, guys. But you don't have shares in Facebook. Maybe you have in GameStop. No, I'm just joking. You probably should have sold it by now, though. Anyway, you can have it. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciated some fantastic information. I'm really excited about it. I can see how excited you guys are about it. So I mean, it's great to hear your enthusiasm. So that's tremendous. So I'm looking forward to anything that can support the MI industry is tremendous. So thanks for the information and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, and thank you guys. Thank you, Chris, for joining, and Brian, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Brian.